If you have ever wondered what progressives are, I'm going to get into that, so I think you should stick around. Thank you so much for joining me. As always, I am Eyeglass Tyler. Welcome again to my home, and please be comfortable. We're talking about progressives, just in general, what are progressives? We do a lot of videos talking about progressives, and so I thought it would make sense to just do an overview of what progressives are. You may already know if you're watching this, but I'm going to get into some details about it. So maybe you'll learn something, could be a little bit informative for you. I'm going to talk about just a quick answer about what it is and what they do. I'll talk a little bit about distortion and some best practices for you first-time wearers. I'm going to talk progressives for computers because there are some specialty progressives that exist out there. Ultimately, are they right for you? It's never an easy question to answer, but I'm going to try. And then the last but not least, buying progressives online, because we're SportRx. So I think I have a little insight there too. So let's get into it. All right, now for the quick answer about what it is and a little bit about what it does. So a progressive is a multifocal. That is to say that it caters to multiple focal lengths. That is to say distance and reading and actually everything in between. And you might understand a multifocal better if you hear the term bifocal, because that's a little more well-known, I'd say, because it's obvious when somebody has a bifocal. A bifocal has a stark line, gives you that reading magnification in the bottom, but that's pretty much just it. It's just distance and reading. With a progressive, you actually have distance up top, reading on the bottom, and everything in between as your eye scrolls down the lens, but there are no lines. So this makes it by far the most popular multifocal out there. And now a little bit on distortion and what to expect. You can't talk progressives without talking about distortion because it is an inevitable trait or side effect of progressive. You have a little more minimized peripheral vision due to distortion, especially in the intermediate and reading areas. As progressives have gotten better, the designs, this distortion has been more minimized, but it's still there. It still exists, and so it has to be acknowledged. And so I'll talk a little bit about overcoming these because there are some tricks to overcoming this distortion. Not to say that you can get rid of it, but you can work with it a little better. And there are some best practices, which I'll actually get into in just a moment for you first-time wearers. If you've worn progressives, you probably know those by now. There's a phrase or an idea that I've latched onto, which I really like, which is working with them and not against them. Because, like I said, it's inevitable. So it's better to try to work with them. Progressives are, I think, by far the best option available to you if you're looking for a multifocal, just because of how diverse it is. It gives you, like I said, distance, reading, everything in between. And so it's a great option, especially in terms of convenience. And so it shouldn't be overlooked just because of this distortion issue. But like I said, the digital designs, the better designs are making this less of an issue more and more as we get better with these progressive designs. And so do not skip out on those. I think it really makes a difference to get the better designs. And now for best practices for you first-time progressive wearers. You're getting progressive for the first time. There takes some time to get used to these, and there are some things that you can do to get used to them even faster. One of the first things that I talk about is learning to point your nose at the thing that you're looking at. This may not be natural. It may take some work to get this down, but instead of keeping your head stationary and looking with your eyes, it's better to point your nose at the things that you're looking at, just because then you're not bothering with getting into that distorted area. Just makes it a little easier to work with these progressives. Another thing that I always talk about is keeping your chin up and looking through the bottom portion of the lens when you're reading, because that's where the magnified area is of the lens. It makes sense, right? Like I said, distance up top, reading on bottom, everything in between. But then that reading on the bottom means you want to keep your chin up so that you're looking through that reading portion, that magnified portion. It's going to make that a lot easier. And as I said, work with them, not against them, and give it time. I always recommend at least a solid 2 weeks if they feel weird when you first put them on, and consistent wear, because it's an intuitive thing. Your brain will naturally understand it, and your eye is going to just naturally go to that spot that it needs to be in to see clearly with whatever you want to see. But it takes time. You just need to work with them a little bit. I think 2 solid weeks of consistent wear is a good place to start. Now let's talk about these specialty progressives, specifically progressives for computers. This is a great option for those of you who log a lot of screen time, who are in front of the computer for an extended period of time. Many people use their everyday progressives for computer use as well, which is totally fine. But like I mentioned earlier on, the area of the most distortion, the most peripheral vision distortion, exists in that intermediate range, which is your computer distant range. And for those of you who want the widest area of your lens to be catering to computer distance, this is a great option for you, and really the only option for you. And it also gives you that reading up close portion. So you'll have that computer distance as a really wide area. And then also for your paper documents that are a little closer and you want to be able to see at that normal reading distance, you have that correction as well. And again, no lines. So a really good option. And a side note here, at SportRx, we don't offer these types of progressives. And it just in the spirit of informing you and letting you know what your options are, I wanted to mention it. And so don't skip out on that if that sounds right for you. And now for my very favorite question, are they right for me? Well, no, not me, the you me, the general me. That is to say you. I don't know why I made that so complicated. So this is a big fat maybe. I don't know for sure. Everyone has different needs, but hopefully this video and the information that I have given helps you to better figure out what's right for you in your particular needs. By the way, we have lots of opticians who'd love to walk through that with you. If you do need some extra help, we are here to help you. I can say, however, that it is the most popular form of multifocal for good reason. It is very convenient. You have the distance, you have the reading, and everything in between, like I keep saying, which means you can wear them all day and not have to have multiple pairs of glasses on you. It's also a good option, by the way, for those of you who don't need any distance correction. It will help you to see out in the distance. We can put zero correction up top so you can still see in the distance, and then that magnification at the bottom. You don't have to have a pair of readers in your back pocket or have to hold a pair of reading glasses on your person so that you can see things up close, whether it be your phone or at the market and you want to read something. So it's really nice and convenient, even if you don't need distance correction. So don't skip out on it. And now for buying progressives online. I'm coming at you from SportRx. So of course we're talking about buying online. The most important thing I think you need to consider is buying from a reliable source. Progressives are never cheap. There's no way around it, unfortunately. And so you want to make sure when you're investing this kind of money that it is a reliable source from which you are purchasing them. Don't also look for the cheapest option available. There are cheap progressives that exist, at least cheaper than other options, but you get what you pay for. And so I definitely discourage doing that. Like I mentioned earlier on about distortion, the better progressives offer less distortion and just a better overall experience. You're putting glasses on your face so that you can see better. Why make it more of an obstacle? The better progressive designs make a huge difference. And while we're talking SportRx, I can tell you as a reliable source that we are really good at determining your segment placement based on your prescription and your frame combination. And also, we back up our product. You're never stuck with anything thanks to our See Better guarantee. I'll get into that in a little bit. And so you can definitely count on SportRx as a very reliable source. Hey, so that question is answered. What are progressives? I gave the simple answer and I gave you a little more info as well. So hopefully now you have a better grasp of what progressives are and what to expect and what might be right for you. By the way, if you decide to order from SportRx, thanks to our See Better guarantee, you never have to worry about getting something that isn't right or just doesn't work for you. Just get back to us within 45 days and we will take care of you. And by the way, no restocking fees. And also we have opticians who'd love to help you get it right the first time, so do not hesitate to reach out to us. We'd love to hear from you. Thank you so much for watching this. Hopefully it was interesting or informative. If so, throw us a like. It would mean a lot to me. You can check out relevant videos there. Also, if you subscribe, you're going to hear about those videos first. That makes sense, right? Also, we have good content on our social media outlets, and you should check us out at SportRx.